Hi, I'm Dennis from Accountants Desktop. This video will demonstrate our professional's profit calculator. You can view any specific part of the video by using the links below to jump straight to that section. And just hit the pause button anytime you'd like to take a closer look at any screen. If you like this video, please give it the thumbs up below, and don't miss any of our future videos by clicking on the subscribe button. The ATO has been concerned about the allocation of profits in professional firms for a long time. Professional firms include, but are not limited to, accounting, architecture, engineering, financial services, law, medicine, and management consulting. Apart from the general anti-avoidance provisions and several rulings on the topic, they first published specific guidelines concerning the allocation of professional profits in 2015. But according to the ATO, those guidelines were misinterpreted, so they were suspended in 2017. Then on 16 December 21, the ATO issued PCG 2021/4, which contains a risk rating system from low to medium to high, based on figures extracted from the client's annual returns. If your client falls within the low risk zone, ATO action is unlikely. Where a client is within the moderate risk zone, ATO action is likely. And in the worst of situations, a high-risk zone rating means that ATO action will be prioritised. And as a transitional measure, the old guidelines can still be relied upon up to as late as 30th of June 24 in specific circumstances. For example, if risk was low under the suspended guidelines, but is higher under PCG 2021/4, the ATO will accept a low-risk assessment. You can see some quotes on the screen taken directly from PCG 2021/4. The takeaway here is that the ATO will be monitoring your professional clients' returns each year and expects agents to do the same. They may call upon you to produce records to show your risk assessments, and any failure to do so may lead to an audit. Our professional's profit calculator will help you to avoid any unwanted attention from the ATO. It's an Excel file with a checklist that enables you to do an actual risk assessment for the year and to project an assessment for the following year. You can assess just one or all the practitioners in a firm. It'll do automatic calculations for income tax, FBT, and superannuation contributions tax. It comes loaded with a sample assessment to show you how to complete the calculations. And there's sample text to use for your email or letter to the client. Please note our calculator cannot be used for the suspended guidelines. This is what you'll see when you first open the file. There's an overview of the principles in PCG 2021/4 on the right-hand side, and in the left-hand side fixed pane, there's a checklist with links to help you with your assessment. The first 3 questions on this checklist require a simple yes or no answer. Enter 1 for yes and 0 for no. To be eligible to use these guidelines, the client's arrangements must satisfy the requirements of each of 2 gateways. This first gateway is the commercial rationale gateway. By clicking on the link in the checklist at item 4, you'll see information from the ATO website and a text box alongside where you can add any comments you'd like to make about your decision. Enter 1 at the checklist for a pass. By clicking on the link at item 5 in the checklist, you'll see the second gateway, which is the No High Risk Features gateway. Here you'll also see information from the ATO website, and there's a text box for your comments. Enter 1 at the checklist for a pass. This screen is where you make an actual risk assessment for the year. But before doing the actual assessment, I suggest that you look at the sample, which comes loaded with the workbook. Use this sample for guidance in completing your assessment. I'll come back to this sample shortly to have a closer look at the process. And after doing your assessment, there's sample text that you can use to send to your client explaining the guidelines and your assessment. Simply copy and paste all or part of the text from here into your outgoing email or letter. As well as doing an actual assessment for the year, you can also project the risk for the following year at this screen. For example, where the risk may not be low in the current year, and you want to project profit allocations to ensure that the client will be in a low risk zone for that following year. And finally, use the link at the bottom of the checklist to view the risk assessment framework. Let's look at our sample assessment in more detail. You can do an assessment for just one individual professional practitioner in a firm, or for any number, including all, in the same screen. It'll do calculations for income tax, FBT, and superannuation contribution tax to help with the calculation of effective tax rate for each practitioner. Our sample is for an accounting practice with 2 partners, and each practitioner's family trust holds an equal number of shares in the practice entity. This is an example of doing an assessment for all partners in a practice. You can colour code entries to make it easier to follow your assessment. Alec is partner 1, and I've shown all figures in purple, and Sam is partner 2, and I've shown all figures in green. The screen is divided into 4 distinct parts. At the top of the screen, you calculate the total profit for risk assessment purposes. In the table below that, you enter each practitioner's details and the amount of their entitlement to the firm's profit calculated above. Further to the right in this table, you can see the total score for risk assessment purposes for each practitioner, along with their risk level. In our example, you can see that Alex is in the moderate risk zone and Sam is in the low risk zone. The table at the bottom of the screen is where you enter specific allocations of profit by each practitioner to themselves and/or their associates. The 3 figures for profit for risk assessment purposes, profit for allocation, and total profit allocations must all agree. And in the top right-hand corner of the screen, there's a summary of the analysis for all practitioners, showing the numbers with low, medium, or high risk. Thank you for watching this video on our Professionals Profit Calculator. Don't forget, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up below, and don't miss any of our future videos by clicking on the subscribe button. My details are shown on the screen, so please feel free to contact me for any further information.